So I got a question that I thought I would answer. Basically, she says, can you do a video on maintaining your skin goal? How much should you take or should you stop? I'm kind of close to mine. I guess I'll continue for a month or a little after that, but I'd really like some advice on how to keep my results. So just a disclaimer for me, I have never reached my skin goals. So when I first discovered glutathione was in 2019, and so I went for close to a year. It was more like 10 months, maybe close to 11-month mark. So I stopped, and then when 2020 started, I wasn't really doing glutathione, and then I started glutathione back up in September of 2020, and then now you guys are on that second journey. So I'm just gonna share what I've done some research on and what I had in mind for myself. But of course I haven't tested this out, so I'm not entirely sure. But the thing I was going to do is basically once I get to my goal, I was going to continue going, go past my goal. So let's say if I was taking 6,000 milligrams a day with, the vitamin C and whatever, glutathione boosters I was taking, I would continue that same regimen like a month after I'd already hit my goal. So if I kind of went a little bit over it, I would have some wiggle room in case my skin started to revert a little bit, or in case I had something going on, like maybe I was just out in the sun or whatnot. So I got cut off because the dog was barking and we have maintenance people over. But where was I? I don't really know. Oh yeah, I was gonna go a little bit over, and just in case, in case you have somewhere to go, I don't know, there's a birthday party, maybe it's an outdoor event, you have some games to go to, life happens. We like to say, oh, we're gonna stay out of the sun, but sometimes you want to do things like that. So I was going to go a little bit over, and just to give myself some wiggle room in case things did happen. It's after it builds up to a certain point, you get there really, really quickly. Another thing that I noticed, and this is on people who have been on glutathione for a year or 2 years, and basically the woman was just saying that when she maintains her skin tone, which her skin tone was very, very light, it's raining right now and also I'm in white, but you can still see a lot of the brown in my skin, even though the lighting keeps on fluctuating. For hers, we're talking it was pretty milky, so she had pretty much took out most of the melanin. For her, what she said is sometimes she only took it every other day, every 2 days. It was just a little upper, and she was taking I think only 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams, and so she was also doing glutathione capsules. So just keep that in mind. But that was just one person who actually got to her goal, was significantly lighter, and that's what she was doing to maintain. Another thing I've noticed is that if you're on let's say a topical that is a tyrosinase or melanin inhibitor or blocker, then if you think about it, if it's doing its job, if it's doing its job and it's inhibiting the formation of melanin, you should be able to maybe cut out glutathione altogether. Because I know we like to use, I call them heavy duty lighteners, because there's some lighteners that will just brighten your skin, and then there's some that will go further and not only lighten but actually make it to where the new skin forming will not be like the old skin, and then others just take off the first the top layer of skin. So if you're using a heavy duty lightener, you should be able just to use that to maintain your skin. Would you need to use it every day? I'm not sure, but if you wanted to get off of glutathione, whichever method you're using, I feel in my mind, in theory, it should work. Now, of course, we have these ideas of what sounds good and then what the actual reality is. And so that's why, this video is kind of difficult to make, because I haven't been able to test any of this out. In fact, with how little of glutathione I'm taking now, I mean, in theory, it shouldn't really be giving me results, even though my results are, slower, because I'm not taking a lot of glutathione. I'm still making progress, which is surprising to me. So just goes to show you that the things that you think of how it should be sometimes just don't match up to the reality of the situation. Another thing you could do, so that's just an alternative of just relying on some topicals. Obviously you would not need daily use of those topicals, because then you would continue to, but every other day or every 2 days, a couple times a week maybe. I kind of think of it like people who waist train, and then after you get to a goal, you don't have to wear the waist trainer every day. In fact, most people can just wear it for a couple hours 3 times a week and they're good to go. So assuming it's something like that, you should be able to maintain. But I'm hoping, because like to me that sounds low effort, low maintenance. Now if you do have to take glutathione every day, then I guess the only thing that makes me feel better about that is just the fact that I wouldn't have to take as much. I know if I was taking like a liposomal glutathione or an acetyl, if I was taking it orally, that I could just maybe get away with a very low dose. Obviously, if you're doing reduced glutathione, then you need to make sure that you're taking it either nebulizer or you're doing it rectally, just so it can get into your bloodstream. But it would be cool even if maybe people didn't do glutathione at all, and like maybe they just did like a coffee enema, added maybe 5,000 milligrams of like glutathione to the coffee enema, and did that like once a week just to like boost the results. I don't know if one day out of a 7-day week would be enough, but these are just kind of like ideas. So there's a lot of experimentation that still needs to be done, I think, with it. So is this completely permanent? I would not say that. This only applies to people who are on this for like a couple of years nonstop. So me, technically, this should be my 2nd year on glutathione, but I stopped. And so you can't just stop for a couple of months, or stop for like 6 to 7 months like I did, and then you pick up again and be like, okay, well I'm back and this is like my 2nd year of doing this, because like it's really not. So that's why like you have to restart the clock. And so my clock started in mid-September of last year, and so now I'm about 9 months into this. And another like kind of disheartening, but even though it's 9 months, that still isn't like long term for glutathione. So unless you're getting close to like that 24-month mark and you've been taking it repeatedly every day, I don't know if I would trust it. Like, of course your skin can still revert, like your body isn't completely, I don't want to say dependent on it, but like I don't know, but just out of my research, it gave me the idea that it being permanent to the point of where your skin isn't going to easily revert is only for people who've been on it for a couple of years. And even then, I think if that person was still to go out into the sun, the sun's going to do its thing, and some of that melanin is going to be activated. But obviously they're not going to get as dark as they were prior. But there really isn't just enough information on this. So this is all speculation, and it's all trial and error. So it'll be cool to see what actually happens. If you do find that you've been taking glutathione for a while, like 9 months, 10 months, and you start like to run out, I would definitely just ease back on your dosage. So like if you think like, oh, I can't afford this anymore, I would just really just continue taking it, but just take a very, very small dose for as long as you can until you can start upping your dose again, just so your body will continue to stockpile it. Because as soon as you stop supplementing it, your body will start dipping into the reserves. It's like if we were to stockpile, dry goods for hurricane season, and then during hurricane season, when all of our power is out and we can't eat our fresh food, we start eating that, and we're not continuing to buy canned goods at the store every time we grocery shop. Like that's literally what's happening. Like, so you're just going to start dipping into what you already have. So I think it's important that even if you're like, oh, I can't afford this anymore, just scale back on how much you're taking. Take the bare minimum, and just so your body can continue to get a little bit each and every day. And obviously at that point you're probably going to stop like making progress, but at least you'd be able to maintain until you're able to afford however much, whatever dosage you feel comfortable taking. But I know for some people it's like, okay, 24 months, that's like a long time, and it is, but I would just continue taking, even if you're about to maintain and you have not yet hit that 2-year mark. Continue maintaining until that mark, and then really that's when we'll start to see, okay, how hard is it for my skin to revert? Will it do it on its own? Or if I continue living a lifestyle of where if I'm out in the sun, I'm covered, or I have some type of sun protection, if I continue that, will I be good? Or is it just going to start forming, those melanin cells all on its own? Because that's really what we want to see. And I'm assuming that for some people who are taking heavy duty lighteners, like either if it's a serum or if it's a lotion, that's also going to help in training your skin to basically stop this whole tyrosinase process. And so taking it for so many years is going to basically, make it to where your body's not going to want to.